which is sub judice. It has been given to the court in terms of the mandate that was given to us, and we've done part of the work and submitted that as was required. It's an ongoing process, and therefore, until the final report is out, it's difficult to say one way or the other what the final report is actually going to say.
So, sir, basically, as it was stated that there was a discrepancy or there was exaggeration of suppose at least a 4 times exaggeration. So, was it written or was it mentioned in the report, or what is, because that is what the controversy has been surrounded with. So, I just want to clear it off, sir.
So, if you go through the report, you'll see that oxygen requirement is a dynamic process, and therefore the requirement will change from day to day and from time to time as the pandemic behaves, and therefore the needs and what was being supplied will vary, and therefore that is what the report has tried to bring out in terms of using the formula which is available and which the government of India also use as to what would be the need for oxygen, considering the number of beds, ICU beds and routine beds that are there at a given point in time, and what is the demand that is being made. So that calculation has also been shown in the report, and the table also shows what was the actual consumption and what was the demand made. And based on that, interpretation can be drawn. But like I said, it's sub judice. It is there on the table, and you can see how it has varied from day to day.
Sir, also, it in the report, is it like in the report it's mentioned that there have been total altogether the draft that was given to the hospitals to fill up. It was 186 hospital who has responded. So, what was it, sir? Like how the hospital responded, or what was their stake, or how the consumption did they come up with to you, sir?
So that is also given in the report in terms of the hospitals that responded and in terms of their beds and ICU beds that they had and their supposedly purported oxygen consumption. And it was obvious that there was it was not matching, that considering the number of beds that you have and the number of ICU beds that you have, your oxygen consumption seemed to be disproportionate, and that was also brought to the notice as per the report of the as per the interim report.
So, sir, is it also like if like regarding Delhi's consumption, which was as stated in as stated was 900 MT. So, is it like a regard during that time at the peak? Maharashtra had 275 or somewhere close to 275 MT, and Delhi had 900. So there is a huge discrepancy. Is it somewhat stated like that also in the report, sir?
So the report has looked at everything, and the interim it's still an interim report, and based on the number of beds, the ICU beds, and the oxygen need, it is using the formula that was being used at that point in time. It is calculated what should have been the oxygen need and what was the demand, and also in a similar manner, what has been the need and demand and the usage in other states also. So it's looked at it in from that point of view. There have been presentations by different groups also in terms of the consumption and the supply, and I think that has come out in the report. And also, what was the actual use on each day is also being has been mentioned in the report based on what was asked for and what was actually consumed on a particular day.
So, sir, is it like as you were saying? I want to make it clear once more. As you were stating, there has been a disproportion that has been observed, but it's not a 4 times exaggeration, or is it like exaggeration and disproportion is both comes in the same line that you spoke about? Sir?
So that it has come out in the report that what is the discrepancies in terms of what was the actual consumption and what was the demand. And like I said, it varies from day to day. So it can be more on a particular day and it may not be that much on a given day. That has also been reflected in the report, and it brings out all of these, including the other issues raised by various other members and their own comments that have also been annexed, so that everyone's comments have been added on in terms of the report in a total manner. And subsequently, we will compile all of this and try and complete all the TORs and then give a final report.
So, sir, it is still an interim report, and the calculation is still going on, and it has not been submitted yet, sir.
So it is an interim report. It is not a final report. The dynamic process of oxygen requirement is something which is still being looked at. And secondly, this is also to some extent sub judice. So it's not something that one can really comment unless we have a final report, which is given to the Supreme Court and it's released by them.
So, sir, is there any idea like when the final report can be out or when the final report will be there?
So we are working on it. We've almost finished the report. It's only one TOR which is left, which needs some inputs from hospitals in terms of oxygen stewardship. Once that oxygen stewardship program is also sort of incorporated in terms of how hospitals can move forward in conserving oxygen, then the final report should be ready, and we're trying to really give it out as early as possible.
Sir, any important point you want to make that you have observed in the report? Any important or any crucial point that you want to mention here?
So I'll say the report is still interim. Secondly, the requirement of the oxygen requirement and what was actually used has been shown there, and the discrepancy has been there. It's not correct to say that it was less or more, because that is something which is dynamic and has been mentioned in the report. So I think an unnecessary controversy is being created that it was more than this or less than that. The report clearly mentions it, and if someone needs clarification, they can look at the interim report or wait for the final report.
So it depends completely on the dynamic of the day-to-day consumptions, right?
Correct. For example, now there is hardly any oxygen consumption, and most oxygen now use is actually hospital doing directly with the company rather than it being supplied by the center or the state. So the oxygen requirement is dynamic, will vary from day to day, and that's what happened even that time. And therefore, if one has to look at any discrepancy, then one has to look at it in the report itself, and there is a table which tries to show that. And I think that should give you a clear idea as to what was the discrepancy.
Okay. So, sir, there has been discrepancy and disproportion that has been observed, but not as exaggerated or not in the same manner exaggeration that some reports has come up with.
Again, I'd say it's important to look at the report because it's a dynamic process.
Right.
The degree of exacerbation which is being reported may be there on certain days. It may not be there on certain days. It may be, so it depends on how you look at it in totality. And like I said, the oxygen requirement will vary from day to day. And as we are seeing now, it has become much less.
So, sir, okay, sir, in another context, I would like to ask you, sir, regarding the recently that has been approved from the government union ministry, that a provision of pregnant women vaccination. So if you can highlight a little bit on that too.
So I think this is something that is overdue because we are now wanting that pregnant women be vaccinated because it protects both the mother and the fetus, and therefore it's important. And some data is emerging that in terms of outcomes, fetal outcomes of COVID can sometimes have an adverse fetal outcome. And therefore, it's important that we vaccinate pregnant women. Initially, there was a lot of debate in terms of the safety. Right. But now the Pfizer vaccine data has come out that it is safe, and many other studies have shown that vaccines are safe and therefore can be given to pregnant women. And therefore, I think this is a good step. And this will help actually to protect pregnant women from getting severe COVID infection.
Okay. Sir, one last question on Delta Plus. Sir, on Delta Plus, how much efficacy the vaccination is proving, sir?
So when we look at efficacy of vaccine, we're looking at efficacy against disease and against infection. The current vaccines have a good efficacy against preventing severe disease, and that is also for Delta Plus. Right. So as far as Delta Plus is concerned, those who have been vaccinated get a milder disease. They don't need to really they don't get hospitalized, and it doesn't lead to death. Whereas you may still get infection, and even if you're vaccinated with Delta Plus, but it will usually be a mild infection, and you could be infectious for some time and give infection to others in the community.
नमस्कार, मैं हूं मानक गुप्ता। अगर आपको हमारा ये वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो इसे लाइक और शेयर जरूर करें, और हां, हमें सब्सक्राइब और फॉलो करना ना भूलें। ताकि आप देश और दुनिया की कोई खबर मिस ना करें। तो जुड़े रहिए हमारे साथ और देखते रहिए News 24।